a deliverance from spiritual bondage. Deliverance from spiritual bondage. Look at the book of Isaiah, chapter number 58, and verses number 1 to verses number 6. Isaiah, chapter number 58, from verse number 1 down to verse number 6. Says, cry loudly. Do not hold back. Raise your voice like a trumpet and declare to my people their wrongdoing and to the house of Jacob their sins. Yet they seek me day by day and delight to know my ways, as a nation that has done righteousness and has not forsaken the ordinance of their God. They ask me for just decisions. They delight in the nearness of God. Why have we fasted and you do not see? Why have we humbled ourselves and you do not notice? Behold, on the day of your fast, you find your desire and oppress all your workers. Behold, you fast for contention and strife, and to strike with a wicked fist. You do not fast like you have done today, to make your voice heard on high. Is it a fast like this that I choose? A day for a person to humble himself? Is it for bowing one's head like a reed, and for spreading out sackcloth and ashes as a bed? Will he call this a fast, even an acceptable day of the Lord? Is this not the fast that I choose? To release the bonds of wickedness, to undo the ropes of the yoke, and to let the oppressed grow free, and to break every yoke. So a third reason or purpose of fasting is deliverance from spiritual bondage. But what is spiritual bondage? Think of it as when you're going through a spiritual rut. You feel like you're not going anywhere. You're in a place where you in a lack of intimacy, a place where you want God, but you don't feel like God is near. And this could be a lot of church attendees right now. They are in spiritual bondage. They're just going through the motions. They sing the song. They open their Bibles. They attend Bible study. But they are still yet yearning for that connection with God. And somebody says they're pretending at best, because there's no real relationship. They're doing the spiritual activities, but to no avail. But notice when you fast, look at the emphasis in verse 6. This is God talking. He says, this is the fast. Is not this the fast that I choose? To release, he says, the bonds of wickedness. He says to undo the ropes of the yoke, and to let the oppressed, he says, go free, and to break, he says, every yoke. God is saying, this is what I want you to do. But what are you doing though? Because there seems to be a back and forth between what these people are doing and what God has called them to do. Notice in verse number 2, God speaking. He says, yet they seek me day by day and delight to know my ways, as a nation that has done righteousness and has not forsaken the ordinance of their God. And then they said in verse number 3, why have we fasted? And he says, you do not see. Why have we humbled ourselves and you did not notice? Because he says, notice God now answering, behold, on the day of your fast, you find your desire. He says, and you oppress all of your workers. He says, behold, you fast for contention and for strife, and to strike with a wicked fist. And you see, they're fasting with the wrong purpose and the wrong intention. So they're thinking that they're fasting for the right purpose. And verse number 3, they're saying, you know, we fasted. And why, God, haven't you seen? We are fasting, and why haven't you heard our cries or heard our prayer? And God is saying is because they are not doing it for the right purpose and in the right way. And the lesson for us is if we don't fast with the right purpose and the right way, it will be just like these people. We are just fasting and God won't take notice. He won't see. It will just be like he's not seeing because we're not doing it with the right purpose and the right intent in mind. So that's why we need to make sure that when we are fasting, that we do it with the right purpose and with the right intention. So God is saying that, yes, you're trying to seek me, but they're not doing it in accordance to what he has said. They are saying, God, we are fasting, but you're not hearing me in verse 3. We've denied ourselves, but he says, you're not responding. God is saying, because you're doing what you want to do when you fast and not what I have commanded you to do. He says in verse number 4, you'll fast for contention and strife and to strike with a wicked fist. He says, you do not fast like you have done today to make your voice heard on high. And that's one of the reasons we want to fast so that, yes, that God can hear us on high, but we must do it with the right purpose. If we don't do it, then it will just be as noise. God won't hear. Because if we don't do it with the right purpose, God is not going to take notice, and it's just going to be a waste of time. And that's why he answers in verse number 5. Is it a fast like this that I choose? A day for a person to humble himself? Is it for bowing one's head like a reed and spreading out sackcloth and ashes as a bed? He says, is this not the fast that I choose? So God is showing a right way and a wrong way to fast. He gives you a comparison of the two types of fast. We need to be careful that when we fast, that we fast indeed with the right purpose, so that God will indeed be able to hear. He will be able to see, and that he will be able to hear our requests. You see, God promises you that you can get out of your spiritual rut. You can get out of the lack of breakthrough. You can get out of that lack of intimacy. You can get out of that lack of spiritual renewal. He says you can break the bondage when you fast and pray. And he says, then God will hear you. Because God wants authenticity. We cannot fake it, until we make it. God deserves better than just us going through the motions.
Brother Ian,
yes.
if I can interject a bit. And as I mentioned in that, it brings to mind some two scriptures. And I had to just double check one of them because I couldn't find it exactly, but I find it fast now. That's 1 Corinthians 13 and verse 2, where John talks about having faith and being able to have the gift of prophecy and understanding mysteries. But if you don't have charity,
yes, you have nothing.
I have nothing.
Yes.
And then I remember James chapter 1 and verse 8. Because we're talking about bringing back to mind these things. Where God doesn't like somebody who's double-minded. If you're praying and you're trying to show that focus to God, have that focus. Don't pray and then don't believe that he can deliver, or you want to try to fix things on your own. So it just, we're stating it generally shows that God does not appreciate not doing things with authenticity, just as a saying. So whatever you're doing, you have to be focused and really truly believe that, you're doing things in the right way.
Yes.
So you bring to mind that. Thanks for that.
Sister Natasha.
Yeah, just had a question. So therefore, based on what you're saying, those Catholics, even the Muslims who do their fasting, like Muslims do it during Eid time, the Catholics do it during the after Ash Wednesday for the 40 days. Then those are not the kind of fasting that God fasting out with the incorrect purpose. Because I remember when I was a Catholic, I used to do the 40-day fast with them where you're abstaining from, when we were talking about that, you're abstaining from meat. So they are fasting the way you're abstaining from meat and they will eat like fish and whatever. So then that is not fasting then. So then, I mean, a whole religious group is doing something that is incorrect. If you want to say like that way, so that whole Catholic group would be, so all those people that would not be doing the right thing when they feel as if they're fasting for Christ, that they're doing it, it's not biblically sound what they're doing.
Correct. There's no. We looked at all the different fasts that the Bible mentioned. There's no fast that the Bible mentions where the only fast that you would see where you're allowed to eat is that partial or Daniel fast, and that's the only example. And during that fast, he says that he ate no, how should I put it? Something that is not tasty or no tasty. So he's eating something, but is something that he's still sacrificing himself, humbling himself before God, because he is not doing something that pleases, eating something that is pleasing to him. And that's the only example. Other than that, all fast. You don't eat anything during the period. You only drink water. That's it. So all those fasts those religious organizations, those are not a fast according to what the biblical definition of a fast is.
Then you need to clarify with we were talking about that the Daniel fast. Me and Ian had a discussion about it. And I was telling him, well, I looked up and I saw this thing about the Daniel fast, where the Daniel fast is all about you can eat fruits and vegetables and